Hello everybody, welcome to OCHD and welcome to another Jumputi Heroes news video. Today we're going to be talking about the Kimetsu no Yaiba Feature Festival number 3. It doesn't really feel like number 3, it kind of feels like number 5, and it kind of is number 5 because there have been 2 other Kimetsu no Yaiba events, plus Kimetsu no Yaiba has had content peppered throughout every single year of the game. Every single major event it seems to show up, and this event feels a little out of place to me. I've got to be honest. It's quite an exciting event for people who are new to the game, because if you're new and you've just joined because you like Kimetsu no Yaiba and there's a Kimetsu no Yaiba event, you're gonna have so much to do. There are so many of your favorite Kimetsu no Yaiba characters available. It is crazy. But for veteran players, it's kind of weird. So when the last event ended, the Bleach event, it was for the last part of the 1,000-Year Blood War arc. Last year, it was for sort of like the first part of the 1,000-Year Blood War arc. So logically, when this event came around, we had the first part of the final arc of Kimetsu no Yaiba. So I thought this event is going to be the last part of the final arc of Kimetsu no Yaiba, and I was wrong. Instead, we are sort of doing a bit of a mashup. I guess you'd call it a mashup. A few bits from quite early in the story, a couple of bits from a little bit later. Important to note that we haven't sort of breached into final arc content here. And well, I have a point on that later, which we'll talk about. But it's an interesting, it's a very interesting event lineup. So to start things off, you get your Demon Slayer selection ticket, choice ticket, and you get a 100 Tales of the Demon Slayer scroll. We'll talk about that in a sec. With the choice ticket, there are a selection of heroes on there, but it's important to note that not all of them are on there. And they've made that decision. Who knows why? It's got all of the hero grade units from the first 2 feature festivals, I think, and a few bits here and there. But version 2 Sanemi is not there. Kane is not there. The newest Rengoku is not there. I don't know if there's anything else missing, but they've definitely picked and chose different parts to put in this ticket. But again, if you're a new player, pretty good. If you're a veteran player, this probably is just going to be a dupe for you. But still, it's not too bad. A bit of a shame. Bleach brought back... I think it was it Bleach? I think it was the Bleach event that brought back the login bonus. And you got 90 rubies from the login bonus or something like that. Plus you got a bunch of tickets as you went along. They got rid of that for this event, which is a shame, because even though the Bleach event gave such tragically few rubies, it still felt like a proper login bonus. I kind of liked it. We just got nothing here, really. You just get these rewards the first time you log in during this event, and that's it. Now, they have updated the standard login bonus so that you get slightly more rubies. I think it's you get 500 rubies per 15 days now, so essentially 1,000 rubies a month from login bonus, which is, it's not bad. It's not bad, but I think they've taken those rubies from elsewhere, so it kind of doesn't matter. It kind of doesn't matter, because the rubies from the login bonus for this event are not there, and seemingly the rubies you would get for clearing certain stages for the first time have also been removed. Possibly not from older stages. If it was there on older stages, it might still be present. But on the new ones added in this event, seemingly we don't get any rubies for that. So, not great. Not great. But yeah, so let's talk about these scrolls. Now, these scrolls, they really kind of suck. Now, when I talked about Bleach, the login bonus, the tickets were kind of mad because they gave us so many of the version 1 tickets. And then they gave out a bunch of the version 2 tickets as well. And then they even gave some of the tickets from the ongoing event as well. And this event, to be fair, has done some of that. There is a ticket with the login bonus. And then there's tickets with the daily mission and there's tickets from the events and stuff. But this ticket in particular is one of the big ones for this event. The one they're giving out enough of that you can get 2 guaranteed 5 stars. But you need 5 of them to do a single summon, rather than other tickets where it's 1 ticket is 1 summon. And I know that might not normally matter. You know, on those regular tickets, you don't get a guaranteed 5 star. You know, you get like... how many people pulled like basically just Rukia throughout the entire Bleach event? So, you know, I mean, fair enough. They're giving us guaranteed 5 stars here at least. But, again, restricted pool. It doesn't have everyone on there. And you're going to get in total, if you do everything, 12 summons. And on the 5th and the 10th, you get a guaranteed 5 star, and it's guaranteed to be a 5 star from the list above. You could theoretically get a 5 star on one of the other steps, but it's not guaranteed to be one of these. It's just any 5 star from the standard pool, I think. But these ones are rated up. Now, I personally think they're being a little bit stingy. Just because 2 guaranteed 5 stars, plus I guess the choice ticket, that gives you 3 total Kimetsu no Yaiba hero grade units. Also, I should note, if you're new to the game and you get that choice ticket, don't use that choice ticket right away. Do these first, because once you've done these, you will know which ones you're going to summon from this banner, and you might summon one that you wanted, and then you can use a choice ticket on somebody else. So that's the order to do it in. If you're a veteran player, you obviously know it doesn't really matter. But I mean, I guess a Kimetsu no Yaiba guaranteed 5 star is nice. I'm not a big fan of this format of summons, so not great. And we have these special missions to get them basically, and this is part of the problem, because for veteran players, most of these missions are already done. But for beginner players, between this set of missions and another set of missions we'll show further down the list, you're going to have so much work to do to get all the rewards. A lot of players will physically not be able to do it. I don't think there's enough stamina in the game. I don't think... A lot of people might say there's not enough time in the day. You've basically got a whole month to do it, to be fair, so fair enough. But bear in mind, whole month, not for this section, but for the latter section, where you have to max the characters out. For this section, you just need to obtain the characters, so it's not too bad. But they're putting a lot of work for the new players, and I kind of get it, because, you know, if somebody's joined the game for Kimetsu no Yaiba, you want to showcase the series. You want to show them all the different characters they can get. So I do understand from that perspective, but they're expecting a lot of you. They really are expecting a lot. The first set is easy, you know, obtaining copies of all the new characters and the new legend summon. You have plenty of time to do that. Everyone's going to do that. That's not a problem. Mission set 2 is that it could be an issue for newer players, because you've got a lot of work to do there. A lot of work. Now, these events are all available through the logbook, and they are all either available from the exchange store or available from the ongoing events, and they will be half stamina and I believe double drop rate. So that will make it a lot easier. Plus, say for example, you're farming Tanjiro. While you're farming him, you will be earning points. So you'll not only be farming Tanjiro, but you'll be working towards characters where their events aren't there and you have to buy them from the exchange. So it's a lot easier than it used to be, granted, but it's still going to be quite a lot of work. And then the campaign missions everyone has to do. You have to clear the training stage, which is the daily stage, and you have to summon on the gacha. Relatively straightforward. Admittedly, there's definitely going to be a lot of people that miss the clear the daily stage 17 times because it's easy to forget, and you might be starting late in the event or whatever. But seeing as you can do 12 summons on this gacha in total, and you only need to do 10 to get the 2 5-stars, it's not a big deal. Then let's talk about the daily stage. You should be clearing this every day, especially if you're a new player, because it gives a whole bunch of materials to help you evolve your characters, level up your characters. We've also got a special gift, which it's only going to be, it's weird. It's available for a year. It's basically available until roughly this time next year. And it's like a whole bunch of like evolvers and power-up items. And I guess it's just for everybody that starts between now and then, they're going to get all those rewards. Why they chose an arbitrary end date, I don't know. Maybe they're planning to add new evolvers and new power-up items in the future and they want to account for that. Or maybe there's another reason. I don't know. But you may have noticed if you're playing regularly, you just got a whole bunch of evolvers and stuff in your inbox. If you're playing a lot, that's not going to matter to you. But if you're a new player, when you consider how many characters they're going to be expecting you to obtain and eventually evolve and get to max luck, you will be appreciative of all these extra rewards. You will. Then we have the story of Tanjiro Kamado. It's one of the returning events. This is actually not too bad for those new players, because there's like 4 or 5 of the demons that you can clear the stage and you can get a copy of without having to go and do their stage. So it's not too bad. I think this is mostly for the Japanese players who can actually, you know, read the story. But if you've read the manga, you kind of know what's going on, so it's fine. Ultimately, it's not a must-clear event, but it's there. It is there. And then we have the points event. I do feel like we always used to call them points events back in the day, but they rarely used to actually just be points. Like, occasionally they were points. But I feel like as time has gone on, the Japanese devs have started doing the same thing the Taiwan devs were doing. I assume it's the same dev team, but it's different sections of the team or whatever. Where instead of having like a collectible item, it's points. And that's an easier way to do it. And then you can maybe use the collectible item for something else later. Or, I mean, maybe not. Maybe maybe you just don't make a sprite for a collectible item. That's also an option. And this event, same as all the points events, you have like a one stage you can clear once a day to give a bunch of points, and then you have 2 other stages which will reset every day, but you can clear those stages lots of times a day, and you earn the points and you exchange them for prizes. And not to mention the boosted units. You must include the boosted units to improve your drop rate of points. Trust me, you're going to need that. Because they're expecting you to farm a lot of this stage, although I will say you do have a lot longer to farm this stage than you normally would for other point stages. But make sure to include the boosted units in your team. You can only include the 4 highest boosts. Any boosts beyond that won't activate. And with the points, among the prizes we have the Nichiren Blade emblems, which, if you're a fan of emblems, you might want to choose your favorite one. This is obviously for the sort of 4 Demon Slayers in Tanjiro's crew. You've got Tanjiro's Blade, you've got Zenitsu's, you've got Inosuke's, and you've got Kanao's. So if you want those, you can have those. And we have the Kimetsu no Yaiba version 2 gacha ticket, which includes the new characters from this event. I say new characters, there is only one in this event, and that is Tamayo, but it also includes every hero grade Kimetsu no Yaiba character, even Rengoku, who appeared during the 4.5 anniversary. If you are wondering, yes, they fully did intend to include Rengoku during this event, and I believe that the reason they changed that idea and they moved him to the 4.5 anniversary is because during the 4th anniversary, so many people complained that there was no standard gacha and it was just a bunch of like limiteds and expensive stuff. And they said, don't worry, for the next one, we will have a standard gacha. And their answer to that was they just took it from this event and put it in that event. Which at the time, I think a lot of people, you may remember, were saying, well, you've just put this as a standalone standard gacha. Now you've been integrating the standard gacha into the limited banners, and then you've not done that here because it's Kimetsu no Yaiba and you want more money or whatever. So it's a bit of a mess. But this is an opportunity for you to possibly get Rengoku. As I mentioned before, the people that pulled during the Bleach event with the free tickets will remember getting a lot of Rukias. So don't really expect to pull either Rengoku or Tamayo or any specific unit from this banner. But maybe you can get lucky. Who knows? Then we have campaign number 1, Max Luck Special Reward campaign number 1. Now, this is 300 rubies, so not to turn your nose up at. You also get a Kimetsu no Yaiba emblem, and you get some of those scrolls that we mentioned before. You will obviously need those. And you have to just max out all of the new farmable characters from this event. There are 5. Kibutsuji Muzan is a bit of a surprise, to be honest. Not a surprise that he's been added, but a surprise that he's a Transcendent class event. He's a bit of a weird one as well. This gets a little bit on the nerdy side, but basically the way they number the IDs in the game would suggest that version 1 Muzan, which is the limited Muzan, the Lady Muzan, that is indeed version 1, but this Muzan is ID for version 3, meaning there is another version of Muzan that is most likely finished and has not been added to the game yet, which is a bit weird because this version of Muzan, we at least got like the sprite for it in some form or another quite a long time ago. But I do believe that the one that is finished but not added to the game is most likely from the final arc. I do believe that they at some point intended to do the final arc here and change their mind. I might be wrong, but that's just my hypothesis. That's just my theory on the matter. And this Muzan, it's a bit of a shame it's a Transcendent class event because typically speaking, Transcendent class units don't have amazing kits. That being said, I would say out of all of the 3 units here, one of the best ones is the Transcendent. But that's a bit of an anomaly, really. And Muzan does, in fact, have a catastrophe class stage, which I was able to beat. I've tried it, and at first I was thinking it's maybe a bit too difficult. But I was able to do it without any of the like specifically recommended units. So I'll take that. It's a very nice aura costume, so I'm very happy about that. And I do think it's a bit... I don't know. I think they were a bit disingenuous when it came to the release of Ryzen, when it came to the release of that special Hunter x Hunter stage and this Muzan stage. All of them benefit from you having that fucking Orihime from the Bleach event, and they specifically were pushing Orihime as part of that event, and then they cut it off. They were like, yeah, Bleach event, Orihime, you can get her guaranteed on the 6th step at this banner. You can get a chance at her on the 3rd step of this banner. And there were 2 banners that was the case for. And then when the Bleach event goes, they're like, don't worry, you can still get Orihime. And they put her on this trash banner. This trash banner where you could summon for her 16 billion multis and not get her. Because it's all RNG. Because they didn't put her on any guaranteed step, any choice ticket, anything. And they made her good for 3 different stages after she went away. That's dirty. That's dirty. Now, admittedly, you don't need her for this stage. You can definitely beat it without her. But she's a good addition. And I did say at the time that I had a feeling they would do that. But I figured they were only going to do that for the 1 stage for Ryzen. Turns out I was wrong, and they did it for 3 separate stages. But I guess I should have taken my own advice and summoned for her, I suppose. But I don't really like that. I don't really like that at all. But nonetheless, we've got Muzan, and I think a lot of people will be happy about that because the Muzan that we have only appears for like 2 pages, 2 chapters. I can't remember, but for not much. Doesn't appear for very long. And this Muzan, it's more of the iconic look, isn't it? The Michael Jackson suit. It's quite nice. So very good, and he's quite easily obtainable. Pretty much all of these, I think 4 out of 5 are Transcendent class events, so you shouldn't have too much trouble getting them to max luck, even if you are a new player. The only one potentially quite difficult might be Gyoko when we get there, but I don't think it's going to be that bad. Then we have Susamaru. Now, I mentioned before how one of the Transcendent class events were maybe slightly better than the others, and I think her kit is bizarrely quite strong for a Transcendent class event. I'm not saying she's like the best event unit in the game or she's game breaking or anything, but she does a lot and she does it quite well. And I think she could be a very good addition to your team if you are new to the game. You could definitely get some use out of her. So surprising for what should be a throwaway event, a somewhat throwaway character from the series. I don't dislike having her added to the game. It definitely feels like we've overstayed our welcome in the world of Kimetsu no Yaiba just a little bit. And it's a shame that there are big series with big characters that they can't get them added, and Kimetsu no Yaiba is going to add literally every character that's ever said a line. I think that's what it feels like, which is, it doesn't feel like that's how it should be. And when you've got as many series as this does to pull from, you know, bear in mind something like OPTC, you can only really pull from One Piece, and that's about it. You get the movie, sure, and the series, the manga, the anime, but that's all you can use. With this, with Jumputi, we've got so many series to choose from, and it's got more like Kimetsu no Yaiba gacha characters. I don't think any other game has done this much Kimetsu no Yaiba content. So, I mean, I guess that's part of it. They're sort of milking it. I get it. It's like the most popular series right now, so yeah, fair enough, but it's somewhat problematic for the game itself, I would say. But it will bring in some new players, I'm sure that's true. And then next up, we have Murata. Kind of goes down the same route as Susamaru. Like, sure, he's been added. I'm not annoyed that he's been added. I just feel like whoever you sent on the team to draw him and her, you could have sent to draw slightly more important characters from other series. But sure, the sprites look good. I've got to say the sprites look good at least. Got to give them credit there. And then we have this stage, Burning Dawn. This starts on the 6th of November. And I highly suspect that this is going to be, if not the hardest, one of the hardest stages in the game. This is just what the devs like to do. Now, I would like to point out that actually, they haven't really released any characters that could potentially counter this, except maybe Tamayo. I don't know if she counters it, because we don't really know what the gimmicks are for this stage yet, I don't think. But there's no new Blue Limited, so they might not make it as hard, I'm not sure. But we already have version 1 Akaza and version 2 Akaza, whose catastrophe class stages are considered to be incredibly difficult, at least for the period in which they came out. And I wouldn't be surprised if this was the same. Now, I do believe that they gave 10 jewel fragments for the Yuha Baha stage, which was a similar stage. And on this one, they only give 3. And they've given like a scroll as well and an emblem. And so I guess a scroll and an emblem is of equivalent value to 7 jewel fragments to them. I don't know if that's the case. I don't know if that's a mistake. Or I don't know if they've just lost their heads. Because the reality is, the emblem means nothing. It is worthless. It is less than garbage. It's like a cool little picture you can put on your profile, but you've got so many to choose from. Who cares? And the jewel fragments are genuinely useful items that everybody wants. So I'm a bit disappointed that they've cut that back on what could potentially be one of the hardest stages on the game. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not the hardest. It probably will be, though. And I'm a bit disappointed there, gonna be honest with you. Then we have Nezuko, farmable Nezuko. I think eventually we needed to get a farmable Nezuko. This probably wasn't the one I would have picked. It's kind of spoilers, the one I would have picked, but it's basically the one from the end of the upcoming anime arc. That is the one I would have chosen as a farmable, but they haven't done that. And interestingly, I do think this has sort of pushed us away from having like a limited Nezuko, because this is like her rage-induced state, but version 1 was also sort of her rage-induced state. I don't think we're going to get a standalone limited Nezuko, probably, but it's Kimetsu no Yaiba, so you can never really rule these things out. But okay, she's a cool pick for a farmable. I might have argued that she could have been dropped in a standard gacha just so that the standard gacha format could remain what it was supposed to be, but they couldn't really afford to do that because this event is 18 days long and they needed the extra farmable. So take what you can get, I suppose. Take what you can get. She's a nice addition as a farmable, that's all I'll say. And then we have Gyoko, who, to be honest, I really felt like we'd missed the boat on him. I really felt like we weren't going to get him added to the game. It just, I don't know, it felt like we'd already trodden over his arc plenty. And it turns out I was wrong, because we've gone back to this arc and we've got 2 limiteds out of it. So yeah, sure, add him. Yeah, that makes sense. He doesn't have an aura costume like Muzan, sadly, but you can get an emblem, which it's a reward. I'm not gonna say it's a good reward, but it is technically, by definition, a reward. Then we have the Legend Summon. This brings us to 6 total farmables for the period of 18 days. It is probably not enough farmables, if we're being honest, for how long the event is, but it's at least a little bit closer than they maybe have been in the past of events this long. So we'll see. And yeah, this is a nice moment to turn into a Legend Summon, to be honest. I won't go into too much detail because, I mean, if you don't know about it, if you don't have any context, it's not really a spoiler. But if I talk about it, it's a spoiler. So it's just a nice moment. Don't know why it's green instead of red, but it is. I guess it doesn't really matter too much. And we'll see what that does pretty soon, I think. And then we have the Unity Battle. It's a bonus Unity Battle. I say it's a bonus Unity Battle. We kind of made up the terminology for Unity Battle and bonus Unity Battle because the bonus one typically gives jewels instead of jewel fragments, and it's typically easier. And then the normal Unity Battle, typically the rewards are worse and it's more difficult. So I'm calling it a bonus, but I mean, I don't know. They don't do Unity Battle as regularly, and they've been experimenting with it a little bit, so I can't say for certain if it's going to be easy or not. But what I can say is the rewards are going to be half decent, so get involved. Get involved. Then we have the tower boost. Now, this kind of sucks because they're going to be rating up all of the units from this event, plus they are going to have some units from past events, it seems, for at least one of these boosts. But like, if you're missing out some key characters, it's going to be a rough time for you playing tower during these 2 weeks. Additionally, we have the Bleach Tower Boost reprint. Now, this one's a bit weird because they've reprinted it because while this was originally going on, they had a glitch with Candice Catnip where if you used her, she had an additional unintended effect on her support ability that allowed you to remove, or rather remove a turn. I was about to say remove completely. Remove a turn from each of the attack up and recovery up buffs on the opponent, which is a very powerful effect, especially to be given to a transcendent class event, a farmable character that anybody easily had access to. And so they put out a notice about it, and they said, hey guys, there's this error, don't worry, this Bleach Tower Boost is going to be reprinted later, it's fine. And then they had another tower boost before they fixed it. So whatever that tower boost was after Bleach, I can't remember if it was Hunter x Hunter, Yu Hakusho Level E or whatever, or whether there was another one in between. But whatever that boost was, Candice Catnip, her ability was still active. So it still would have ruined that tower boost potentially for some people. Admittedly, at that point they had publicly stated that ability was there. So it was down to you whether you wanted to use it or not. But it still felt a bit like, why have we done this? Why did you not just fix it sooner? It doesn't make any sense. But there you go. There's the tower boost. 3 tower boosts. I guess this is quite a long event, so that makes sense. So have fun with that. And then we have the Max Luck campaign 2. Now, this is the one I talked about that I think is really rough on new players. You're going to have so much work to do. Admittedly, I think that's kind of the point. I think they're kind of wanting the new players to just have so much Kimetsu no Yaiba stuff to do, because they're probably joining for Kimetsu no Yaiba. I kind of get that. But this is their way of carrying on from this event. So the next event is World Trigger. Obviously, people that join for Kimetsu no Yaiba, whether they like World Trigger or not, it's kind of hard to say, isn't it? But if they've got all of this Kimetsu no Yaiba stuff to be working towards while World Trigger is on, I guess the hope is like, oh, well, I was farming this Kimetsu no Yaiba stuff, but then I saw these other cool events, and I got involved with them, and I got a bunch of goodies, and I was actually really enjoying it. And I'm just going to stay and play this game permanently, whether there's a Kimetsu no Yaiba event or not. I guess that's what they're hoping. I don't know if that's the case or not. But it's a lot of units they want you to farm. And you get these tickets, and these tickets seemingly give you a guaranteed Kimetsu no Yaiba unit for every summon. But, I mean, it says that. I have read it, and it says that. It says guaranteed Kimetsu no Yaiba unit every summon. However, typically when it says that, it'll be for a series like Bleach, where you get a guaranteed Bleach unit, but that doesn't mean you get something good. You're just going to get loads of copies of Rukia, because she's the 4-star. So on the banner, it will have all of the Bleach 5-stars, and then it will have one 4-star, which is Rukia, and no 3-stars. You still have like a 90... It's really high. It's like 97 or 98% chance to get Rukia. Almost every summon is Rukia. But in the case of these tickets, Kimetsu no Yaiba does not have a 3-star or 4-star unit in the standard gacha. So what are you actually going to get? I don't know. It might just be guaranteed Kimetsu no Yaiba units. Considering how much work they're making you do, I guess that'd be fair enough. It probably doesn't have the entire standard gacha pool. So maybe? Maybe? But then again, I already made this mistake with this up here. On this one, in the news post, it said 5-star rate 100%, which to me suggested every summon you'd get a 5-star, but then on the 5th and 10th summon, you would get a 5-star specifically from that list, which I thought was pretty good. It's not amazing, but it's pretty good. But it turns out they meant 100% if it's a guaranteed 5-star, which means nothing. It means nothing. It's like, oh, you're guaranteed to get a 5-star if you're guaranteed to get a 5-star. What's the rates when I'm not getting a 5-star? That's what I wanted to know. That's what you needed to put in the news. So that's a bit annoying. But then again, when they introduced the rules in Japan about what you had to disclose and what you didn't have to disclose when it came to gacha rates, they were very clear to say that with a gacha that has a premium currency involved, you have to state the rates up front. But on a free gacha, you don't have to be, like, you can't lie about the rates. And, you know, you could have a whole inquiry and you can have all sorts of problems if you do lie about your rates. But you don't have to outright say, here's your chances of getting this specific stuff. And once you have the tickets, you can check the rates of the individual units. But, yeah, I don't know why it said that in the news, and it really annoyed me. But anyway, let's scroll back down. So, yeah, I guess we just move on to the gacha. So there are 2 limited gacha. For anybody wondering, I'm not going to be summoning during this event, which is a bit of a shock for people that watch a lot of our videos, because they all know I pretty much summon for all the Kimetsu no Yaiba limiteds. I have every Kimetsu no Yaiba unit up until now except for Rengoku, because Rengoku just came out at a really bad time. But I will not be summoning on this event, mainly because this gacha format has annoyed me. But there are other reasons. I do feel like the 2 version 2 limiteds is a bit of a pain. I do think, I don't know, just recently they just haven't been giving out enough rubies. And okay, sure, they want to push you towards buying sales, but they've not only made the sales packs more expensive, but they've removed a lot of the ones that were like half decent value. So, Like, how is anyone supposed to summon on these gacha? I don't understand. I do have a real issue about that. I guess I should talk about that in more detail when we get down to the sales. Let's talk about this for now. So this gacha, the thing that annoys me about it is normally when they introduce one of these banners where it's like a new limited and new heroes, you would have 2 new heroes on the banner, and on the 3rd multi you'd be guaranteed to get one of them, and then on the 6th multi you'd be able to choose the other. And so if you're willing to go 3 multis, you're guaranteed 1 new hero. If you go 6, you're guaranteed 2, and if you go 10, you're guaranteed to get the limited. So you get 3 new units on the way up to the limited, or 3 new units in total. However, this banner is different, and the reason it's different is because they removed Rengoku and put him in a different event. So now this banner only has Tamayo as a special featured new hero. So they've put 4 new heroes, not new heroes rather, just returning heroes. 3 returning heroes, 1 new hero on this banner. And on the 3rd multi, you're guaranteed 1 of them. So for somebody like me who's been playing the game for however long, version 2 Sanemi, I already have him. Kane, already have her. So I have a 50% chance to get a dupe. Anybody that pulled on Rengoku as well will have a 75% chance to get a dupe on a new limited new hero banner. You have a 75% chance to get a dupe on the 3rd multi. Now, admittedly, on the 6th multi, you'll get the choice ticket and you can get Tamayo guaranteed. But let's say, hypothetically, you're in my situation. You didn't pull for Rengoku because he came out at a bad time. It was the anniversary. Maybe you wanted to summon for Goku. Maybe you wanted to summon for All Might. They haven't been giving out too many rubies, so you didn't summon for Rengoku. But this banner's come along and you really like one of the limiteds. So you're going to go in for them. But there's a problem. Because on the 3rd multi, you have a 50% chance to get a dupe. And then on the 6th multi, you could choose Tamayo or Rengoku. You can't have both. And so even though Rengoku should have been on this banner and you should have got both him and Tamayo guaranteed on the way up to the limited, you can't get that here. You have a chance that you'll get both, but there is a very real chance that you will get a dupe of a unit that you didn't really want, and then you will get to choose between the 2 on the 6th multi. So for me personally, that is really, really bad format. I really don't like those changes, and I'm hoping that is just extenuating circumstances for this event. However, I will say that I have made that argument for them in the past that, oh, it's just extenuating circumstances just for this event, blah, blah, blah. And then they keep trying stuff like that to see if it sticks. And I'm not a fan. I'm really hoping that this is just a one-off, but it might not be. And if it's not, then that's going to put me off summoning on most banners. I'm going to basically be saving for whatever the new Muso, whatever the new legend is every year. And I'm probably just not getting involved in limited banners anymore. I know that might seem a bit extreme, but like, what's the point? What are we doing here? You just keep making the banners worse and worse. You keep making them more expensive. You keep making rubies more expensive. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? But anyway, I think sprites are pretty nice. I think it's nice that we're eventually going to get a limited for each of the pillars. I know that some people say that's definitely blatant favoritism from the devs, and you're right. You know, you wouldn't see each of the captains in Bleach getting a limited. So same with any of the other big series you can think of with like big figures like that. They're not all getting limited. So why is Kimetsu no Yaiba getting this treatment? Because it is. What can I say? It's just so popular. It just gets recency bias. And even though I'm a fan of the series, I'm so oversaturated on it at this point. So I'm kind of in the same camp as all the haters. I kind of just want to move on. But there's definitely going to be at least one more, which kind of sucks. But I will say that this limited Muichiro actually... Well, here's the issue. I thought that on this banner image where they have the like leaves swirling around him, that was probably going to be his aura, and I was kind of psyched up about it. But now that I've actually seen it, it's just kind of like a weird glowy yellow aura. It's kind of very plain looking, and it's disappointing. It's disappointing. I think a lot of people are excited for him to get a limited. I know in the English-speaking community, most people don't care. They're so fed up with Kimetsu no Yaiba at this point. But definitely in the Japanese side, people are excited for him to get a limited. And I like it. I like that it exists. I'm not going to summon for it. And I'm not going to summon for Kanroji either, which is a shame. Then we have this banner, which... I mean, we get a lot of these now, limited and hero banners, and I've got to say, on paper, in theory, the value is pretty good, and especially for people who are new to the game, and they're thinking, what am I going to summon on? Should I summon on one of these new limiteds? Yeah, maybe you could summon for the new limiteds, if they're a character you really like. If you're a big Kimetsu no Yaiba fan, these banners, if you're a new player, is where you should be starting, because... you can get at least 2 of the limiteds on this list here, guaranteed. And you're going to get a whole bunch of units from this here. Now, admittedly, a lot of these are being given for free, or they might be obtainable through other means. But definitely the best place to start if you're a Kimetsu no Yaiba fan, if you're new to the game. And you could stock up on a bunch of really good limiteds. The only problem is it's very expensive, and that is basically the only instance I would recommend pulling on this banner. If you've only joined the game, you're a massive Kimetsu no Yaiba fan, that's all you want to get involved with, then yes, this is where you should start. But other than that, don't summon on this banner. It's way too expensive, and even if you do summon on this banner, you stop at the 15th multi. Do not go any further. It is not worth going any further. Then we have sales packs. I'm going to be very upfront about this. I've written out the whole news post, but I'm going to say it loud and proud here. There is only one potentially maybe good sale pack here. All of the rest are garbage. Do not buy them. And I'm not being sarcastic. I'm being dead serious. They all suck. They are all too expensive, too poor in value. I would imagine most of these packs the whales won't even buy, because what's the point? You're spending more money and you're not really getting more for it. So I'm not even gonna talk about the sales packs much. Just don't buy them. Most of them are absolute garbage until they sort their shit out and they start putting in the better sales packs again. I'm not even entertaining the idea of spending more money on the game. I know times are tough. I know the yen is weak right now, but surely if the yen is weak, and if I was hypothetically a Japanese player and I was in a tough situation where my currency wasn't worth as much as normal and I was going to the shops and everything's more expensive than normal, why would I then come home to play a bit of Jumputi and they're charging me like the price of 2 AAA games to get like a third of the way to a limited? There's just no way. There's just no way people are doing that. Even the whales. I can't see it. So I don't know why they're releasing these sales packs. They're just wasting their time. This is the only potentially passable one. 1,200 yen for 1,000 rubies. But I have a personal mission to not buy any rubies unless they are offering a price better than 1 yen per ruby, or equivalent to 1 yen per ruby. If it is not at least as good as that or better than that, for me it is not worth buying. Admittedly, the yen is weak right now, so a pack like this, maybe you want to buy this. But other than that, none of these packs are worth buying, in my opinion. Then we have these emblems. We know how to get 2 of them. We don't know how to... Oh, I think we don't know how to get the 3rd one anyway. The uniform emblem, I'm not too sure about. I don't think we know how to get it. But the November 2022 SS one, you have to get 20 SS ranks in this month's Sparks of a Lost Civilization. And the Putti God one, you have to get to rank 600, which I'm not going to be doing anytime soon. There was also another update, which was in addition to the update to the login bonus, where they're going to give us slightly more rubies every 15 days. They are also going to be updating the daily summon. It is now a daily multi instead of a daily single. I say now, it hasn't happened yet. It happens on like the 17th, I think. It will be a daily multi instead of a daily single. And it won't just be characters in there. There'll be other stuff. And I think it's a guaranteed 5-star every day. I could be wrong, but I don't know if guaranteed 5-star necessarily means you're guaranteed to get a unit. You might be getting a guaranteed item. I could be wrong. But we'll know more about that later. That's not important. So next up, we have leaks and such. I'll talk about the banners, but I don't really want to talk about the sales packs. We have the returning limited Gacha 1 and 2 for Kimetsu no Yaiba, which is basically Rengoku and Tanjiro and Giyu and Muzan, the limited versions of each. Now, interesting for this one, we have the information on this now. I didn't have it as of writing the news post, but you're guaranteed to get one or the other on the 7th multi, which they haven't done in a long time. So it's not a bad little banner, I suppose. If you're new to the game and you wanted to go for Tanjiro or Rengoku, and you were happy with getting either, 7 multis is not too much to pay for that, so it's not too bad. Same with the one below. But again, I don't know where they're expecting people to get the rubies from to summon on all these banners. Then we have the My Hero Academia World Trigger returning limited and hero gacha. Same thing applies to this that applied to the other one. If you're new to the game and you're happy with getting whatever limiteds are featured on this banner, and you just love these 2 series and you're happy to go nuts on this one banner and then that's it, then yeah, sure, in that situation this banner's good. Beyond that, I don't recommend it. Then we have the guaranteed 5-star gacha. There was a time I might have said that this was good value because you get a good amount of guaranteed 5-star World Trigger units for relatively cheap. But in this day and age, the like hero grade units are not worth spending rupees on by themselves, especially not old ones. So give that one a miss, I think. And this one is similar to this banner and the Kimetsu no Yaiba one, but it's with units recommended for tower. I personally don't think new players should be thinking about that. This is purely, for me, one of the ones that the whales will go for. So if you're a whale and you want to get one of the units that are very good in tower guaranteed, then I guess in that case it's pretty good. You could also make an argument if you're like, maybe you missed out on a character that you really liked, like Yamato. This might be a good opportunity to go in like 10th multi, guaranteed random, 15th multi, you get the choice ticket. I could maybe see an argument there, but again, where are you getting the rubies from? I have no idea. Then we have the returning limited gacha. Now, really, this is just another opportunity to get these units. You know, I didn't get a chance to get Tengen, so now I'll go for him this time around. Fair enough, I guess. The format is slightly different to when he first came around, because when he first came around he had a special like exchange thing, but I think the price is pretty much the same. The value is maybe slightly worse, I'm not too sure, but regardless, on a 10th multi you get him. Now that is a bit annoying, but not a big deal. This one, they actually made Tanjiro and Giyu more expensive. Tanjiro and Giyu came out almost a year ago. New Year, I think they came out. And they cost 9 multis at the time, and now they cost 10. They cost more now that they are an older unit. I know they're like pretty good units, and I know that a lot of people are going to want them. They're going to be pretty popular. But that is stingy. The devs, no, not even stingy, greedy. That is greedy. And Shinobu, I can't really complain about it too much. She's relatively new, so them returning her at the same price, I guess it's fine. Any of these units, they are available on the banner up here. So this banner here, they're all available on that banner. You're probably better off going for them on this banner rather than those banners. Admittedly, if you only have enough to go for one of them, then fair enough. Go for the solo banners. But if you have enough that you can push the boat out and go 15 multis, you're better off doing it here because you can get the unit you want guaranteed. And on the 10th multi, you can get an additional one plus the hero grade units. All in all, you're getting better value for your rubies. than the standalone gacha. But some people are not going to have enough rubies to do that, and I do get it. So yeah, maybe I guess you have to go for these banners, but the value's not there. It's just gone. And then the tower ranking gacha, we don't have full info on this yet, but it's just going to be very expensive and for the whales. And then we have the 7-step gacha, which is actually not horrific value. If you're happy to get any of these 4 units, if you know you're in a situation where you don't have any of them, or you're in a situation where you have 4,250 rubies to burn, which most people won't, but you know, it's not bad value in that regard. You only have to do 7 multis and 2 of them are free, 2 of them are discounted. You get a bunch of guaranteed 5 stars on the way up. I mean, it really isn't bad value. It's got 4 very good units on it as well. But I think if you have even one of the 4, it becomes not worth it. Because if you get a dupe on the 7th multi, you've spent 4,250 rubies for, what, 3 jewels, essentially? It's not worth it. And then, yeah, I said I wouldn't really talk about the sales packs, and I'm not really gonna. Because there's just no point. They're just all terrible. So, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all I have to say. I think the situation with the sales, the situation with the rubies in general, just it's an absolute nightmare. I don't know what they are thinking. I don't know what is going on. I understand times are tough, but they seem to, and I'm not a business expert, so I could be wrong, but they seem to be doing everything to make me not want to spend money on the game. And so, in my mind, that means they're not making as much money. And eventually they're going to reach a situation where they're not making any money. And the game will die. Because it's no longer financially feasible to run a game that's not making any money. So, what the plan is here, I don't know. I've seen so many Japanese players complaining online. I've seen so many English-speaking players complaining on Discord. Well, and on Twitter as well, to be fair. And I've even seen, like, the old producer of the game saying, yes, the situation's not very good. I've seen some of the whales saying, I'm not spending money on the game anymore. Like, this is dire. This is crisis zone. They're hoping that Kimetsu no Yaiba is going to carry them here. And maybe it will, because it's just so unbelievably popular. But they need to, after this event, they need to sort their shit out. Because if they don't, we're looking at termination. We're looking at this game not being here this time next year. So they need... I know they've got like a bunch of content already planned out, but if they're making a small enough amount of money, they're not even going to be able to pay their staff. They're not going to be able to pay the server fees. The game's just going to die. So they need to sort it out. They really do. They need to be more generous with the rewards. They need to stop taking rewards away that used to be there. They need to offer sales packs that are actually worth buying, and therefore people will purchase them. I know this is a weird one. The game is not technically marketed for outside of Japan. It is purely for the Japanese market. However, right now, the pound, the dollar, the euro, all of these currencies that are not in Japan are stronger than the yen. They're in a much more advantageous position to the yen. If you offer good sales packs, you're going to have foreign players buying those with their foreign currency because it seems like a good deal to them because they're getting a good exchange rate. And it's going to be good for you because you're going to get a whole bunch of currency. You know, maybe some of the Japanese players can't afford it, but the foreign players can. You have to think about these things. You have to consider these things from a business standpoint. They're not doing right by the players. I don't know what the plan is. There's got to be a grander plan. I don't know what it is. I can't tell if it's just pure mismanagement or whether, like, they... I don't know. I don't know. So, fingers crossed they sort their shit out soon. I'm hoping the next news video I make, I could be saying, guys, they've put in the good sales packs again, and they've put a bunch of rewards out, and everything's amazing. That probably won't be the case. But we've got a little while. To be fair, I mean, it's probably going to be like another 15, 16 days before I upload another video. At least another news video. So, maybe in that time they'll sort their shit out. Here's hoping. But until then, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And I'll see you when I see you.